human.
See what the jury and judge think. Tell the world, Johnny. Tell them, Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp, man, I'm a victim of people's domestic violence, and yes. I know it's a fair fight. And see how many people believe or side with you.
About 6 years ago, Miss Heard made some quite heinous and disturbing criminal acts against me that were not based in any species of truth.
It's Amber Laura Heard. I am here because my ex-husband is suing me for an op-ed I wrote. I struggle to have the words. I struggle to find the words to describe how painful this is.
I had a very interesting childhood, one that I thought was normal until a certain age. My mother, I was born in Kentucky.
Elisa Christine Dombrowski. He's my younger brother. He was a shy, sweet little boy. He had a very caring personality, but also he was a little bit of a clown. He loved to, play tricks on us or try to scare us. He was a very typical, happy little boy.
But my mother was quite unpredictable. She was very unpredictable. She had the ability to be as cruel as anyone can be with all of us. That is to say, my sister Christy and my brother Danny and my sister Debbie, also my father. So, essentially, she could become quite violent, and she was quite violent, and she was quite cruel, and though there was physical abuse, certainly, which could be in the form of an ashtray being flung at you, it hits you in the head, or you'd get beat with a high heel shoe or a telephone or whatever's handy. So in our house, there was we were never exposed to any type of safety or security. The only thing that one could do, really, was to try to stay out of the line of fire. I started to be able to observe, and I could start to see when she was about to head into a situation where she was going to get riled up, and somebody was going to get it. Generally, it was me.
He was a typical little boy where if it hurt, he would cry.
Did Johnny ever hit his mother back?
No.
What about when he got to be an older boy? Did he ever resist or hit her
No.
back?
No. No. When he was older, even if she hit or threw things, he never went to that place. He would get away. He would, leave the area, go to his room.
There's physical violence, of course. There's physical abuse, to which she was. That was a constant. That was just a constant, We were all somewhat shell-shocked, Even if she just walked past us, you'd sort of shield yourself because you didn't know what was going to happen. Excuse me, and. So there was the physical abuse, which was a constant. There was quite a lot of verbal abuse. There was quite a lot of name calling and bullying. Making fun of whatever defect one might have. I was born with a very strange, it was a very rare thing in my eye, as the back of the lens is spherical. Normally, is spherical. So in this eye is normal. This eye, I was born with a more conical lens. So my brain never learned to see out of my left eye, and they noticed when I was about 3, 4, that I had a lazy eye, a wandering eye, and she would call me cockeye, one eye, anything she could get to demean, humiliate. I even had to wear an eye patch on my good eye to strengthen my bad eye, so that it would cease to wander. It was exercising the muscles of the eye, though the brain had never learned to see. So I still, my vision in my left eye is. I'm legally blind in my left eye, but so yeah, the verbal abuse, the psychological abuse, was almost worse than the beatings, because the beatings were just physical pain, and the physical pain you learn to deal with. You learn to accept it. You learn to deal with it. But the psychological and emotional abuse, that's what kind of tore us up, I think. My father was a very kind man. In fact, my father's still alive. He's a very kind man. He's a very quiet man. In fact, he's very shy. Not a confrontational person in any way. And when Betty Sue, my mother, would go off on a tangent toward my father, and of course in front of the kids it was no matter to her. He amazingly remained very, very stoic, and never, as she was rationing him with horrible things, he stood there and just looked at her while she delivered the pain, and he swallowed it. He took it. There was never one moment, never a moment when my father lost control and attacked my mother or hit my mother or even said a bad thing to my mother. The things that I witnessed were, there were a couple of times when it got too far, that I could see his eyes welling up as he was staring at her, saying nothing. And then the most that he would do is he would punch a wall. I once saw him punch a wall and it shattered his hand because it wasn't drywall. It was proper concrete and steel wire and rebar and things of that nature. And but still, never touched her, never argued with her. He remained a gentleman. And to me, as a 5-year-old boy, I kept thinking to myself, I kept wondering why does he take it? How does he take this? And why doesn't he leave her? But he didn't, he was able to maintain his calm and his composure. He was able to maintain his relationship with his children. He was a good man. He is a good man. I mean, out of I couldn't count the amount of fights that they had, but I know that I've seen my father strike a wall 2 or 3 times tops. Once when he broke his hand, but yeah, 2-3 times at tops. My father was not an abusive man. At the same time, my father was also, to some degree, at the mercy of Betty Sue. Because if he argued with what she wanted done, that would just turn into another barrage of hatred towards him. So I can remember my father coming home from work, and maybe I'd gotten a bad report card, or maybe I'd gotten in trouble at school, or something like that. And my father would arrive home from work, and the first thing she would say was,
"John, guess whose son just failed his math test again? Of course yours. Take him. He gets the belt."
I'll never forget this white, thick leather 1970s era, thick leather white belt that he would take off, and then he would commence to inflict the punishment on me. But interestingly, there was one time when my father, I kept telling him I didn't do this. It was another incident. I kept swearing to him that I did not do what Betty Sue, what my mom had said that I'd done. But he went through with the punishment anyway. And then, not long after, he found out that I had been telling the truth and that I hadn't done what my mom had said that I'd done. And he came to me and apologized to me for having gone through with the whipping, spelt. And I have to say, my mom never did that. She couldn't. She knew what she knew. She was raised how she was raised. And I had no power to change what was inside of her. When my father left, I didn't realize that he had left. He left for, I was 15. I had already left school. And I was a musician. I was playing in clubs and such. And he left for work one morning.
Yes, I'm walking through the fire.
Just like every day. And he was packing his car. And then he left. And then hours later, my mom, Betty Sue, came home from work. It was about 3:30 in the afternoon. And she walked in the door and stopped and just looked around like she felt something. And I said, "What's wrong?" She said, "Your daddy's gone." I said, "Well, yeah, I seen him leave for work this morning." She said, No, he's gone. And she ran into their bedroom and into their closet, and I followed her, and she opened the door, and there was his rack of clothing and all his belongings were gone. And she was quite upset. And I took her car and drove to my father's work. And I sat down in front of him at 15 and I said, "Listen, seems as though somebody stole all your clothes out of the closet." And he said, yeah. He said, "I'm done. I can't do it anymore. I can't live it anymore. You're the man now." And those words didn't quite sit well with me. I didn't feel like I was ready to hear those words. But that's what I got. Then my mom went into a very, very dark place, a very deep, dark depression, as you can imagine. And one afternoon I woke up, I'd fallen asleep, and I woke up and walked out into the living room. And I saw my mother, very feebly, and like almost, it was like a slow motion crawl. If I could stand up, I could show you. Just what I saw. Do you mind, Your Honor?
You can stand up.
Thank you. I saw my mother, you know, in that mode. So instantly, I knew that something was dreadfully wrong, and there was drool coming out of her mouth, and as I was about to run and call, the front door busted open, and my uncle and two paramedics came in and threw her on the gurney and whisked her out of the house to get her to the hospital to pump her stomach. And she had swallowed a multitude of pills to try to take herself out, to try to commit suicide. And when she got out of the hospital, she was a small firecracker of a woman. She was about 5'2". But when she got out of the hospital, the depression was so deep. She was down to, like, she lived on the couch and she weighed about 70 pounds. And that, all that imagery spun into my head at that time, that I thought that was in my head at the time, I thought that was a cowardly way for my father to have left. And I was deeply upset by that. Until my father and I had a conversation years later, where I asked him what really happened, how did it happen when I was older. And he told me I was very disappointed in him, because I started to believe that his exit was sneaky, cowardly. He didn't, when he said goodbye to me, when he left for work that morning, he just said goodbye, goodbye, Bob. And I went, see you later, Pop. That was it.
I'm Paul Majors.
And I'm Pat Harvey. Actor Johnny Depp was slapped with a restraining order today after his estranged wife, Amber Heard, shows up in court with bruises on her face. CBS 2's Christy Fajardo has more on the divorce fight that has turned nasty.
Hey, Amber. Flanked by security, Amber Heard doesn't try to hide the bruise on her cheek. Neither does her lawyer.
You guys, she showed a lot of courage today.
You okay, Amber? A judge granted the actress a temporary restraining order against megastar husband Johnny Depp. As evidence, her lawyer showed these photos. Heard says this injury was a result of Depp throwing a cell phone at her and pulling her hair during a drug and alcohol-fueled rage. In a sworn declaration, she stated he had attacked her before, saying, quote, "I am petrified he will return at any moment."
There's a hole, the old familiar sting. Try to kill it all away, but I remember everything. What have I become?
Have you ever felt like nobody was there? Have you ever felt forgotten in the middle of nowhere? Have you ever felt like you could disappear? Like you could fall and no one would hear? well. And reach out your hand, and oh, someone will come running, and I know that even when the dark comes crashing through, when you need a friend to carry you, and when you're broken on the ground, you will be found. So let the sun come streaming in, 'cause you'll reach up and you'll rise again. Lift your head and look around. You will.
What? Hold up there, you! It's a shilling to tie up your boat at the dock. And I shall need to know your name.
What do you say to 3 shillings? And we forget the name.
Welcome to Port Royal, Mr. Smith.
Mr. Scamander, do you think Dumbledore will mourn for you?
Hello. Are you going to slash me? Will you be stabbing me now? Would that be? So very nice to meet you.
Do you have any idea what I'm talking about?
No.
Me neither. That's us. We're stuck that way, you and me, since you're told. We'll say this right up front. Nothing below the belt. Good, that was good.
Ola, we've come to take you to the room of spiders. I don't like spiders. May I have a hug?
Yes!
I mean, for me, it's the gift. You know, they're giving me the gift, because to go into a place where, you know, I mean, I've spent time in Great Ormond Street, where it was I was the parent when my daughter was ill, and it was. I mean, it was. I've known darkness in my life, but that was the darkest period ever. You know, it was when I was doing Sweeney, and I'd always kind of done these visits, but after that, the visits became more and more important because the kids, bless them, you know, they're so strong, they're so courageous, but the parents are the ones who are slowly dying. And to be able to bring a smile or a giggle to these people is, it means everything in the world to me. Hi.
How are you?
Oh, why do you ask?
Can I give you that?
I'm fine, how are you? Really?
That sounded good.
This could take hours.
I would like one of your paintings of an elephant.
I've got one.
I'd like one.
I mean, I have 10.
My love, there's only you in my life, the only thing that's right.
My first love, your every breath that I take, your every step I make.
And I want to share all my
Are you proud of him, Kate? So proud. So proud.
This is one I'm real happy to help if I can.
Kate, can you just remind us again what the War Child Project's about?
Well, the charity distributes money to other agencies, which...
What do you keep giggling at? What do you keep giggling at?
Like Sam's underwear.
Sean, actually, that's all he's got. Sean.
Good news, I suppose.
Actually, I'm going to marry Prince Albert.
You're married to Albert, exclusive.
I'm far away. Never want to.
Really concentrate on the album, you know, night and day, and
She's given me the greatest gift that one will ever get. Beautiful child. Beautiful daughter. What else can you say, you know?
And suddenly it turned around, and the back had a face, and it walked towards me, directly at me, and just said, hi.
Yeah.
And then I just knew it's, you know, it's over.
It's over.
Big trouble, you know. Big trouble.
Big trouble.
Big trouble.
How would you say that she has affected your life?
Changed it completely. I mean, Vanessa and my kids gave me life.
Ne cesseront pas ma belle erreur. En langage décile, mes grands yeux disent ainsi soit-il, ma peau, mon bel amant. Sa température plus un cran.
I hope the days come easy and the moments pass slow, and each road leads you where you wanna go. And if you're faced with a choice and you have to choose, I hope you choose the one that means the most to you. And if one door opens to another door closed, I hope you keep on walking till you find the window. If it's cold outside, show the world the warmth of your smile. But more than anything, more than anything, my wish for you is that this life becomes all that you want until your dreams stay big, your worries stay small. You never need to carry more than you can hold. And while you're out there getting where you're getting to, I hope you know somebody loves you and wants the same things too. Yeah, this is my wish. I hope you never look back, but you never forget all the ones who love you in the place you left. I hope you always forgive.
Did you see the birth?
I was there, yeah. Unbelievable. I mean, I've been, since May 27th, when my daughter was born, I've been floating.
You really look happy.
I'm floating. I've just, yeah, I've never, ever in my life, I haven't lived before that date. I was not alive. I existed. I imagine that I drew breath and exhaled and all that stuff, but I don't have any particularly, fond memories of it. I mean, I don't think I took a real breath until my daughter was born.
You really look happy.
I'm floating. I've just, yeah.
It might seem crazy what I'm about to say. Sunshine, she's here, you can take a break. I'm a hot air balloon that could go to space. With the air, like I don't care, baby, by the way. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy. Clap along if.
It's just amazing. The only thing it can do is bring a smile to my face. Lily Rose came here. She came to Venice several times with Vanessa and I when she was a baby, child, and yeah, now to see this incredible young woman and carrying herself with such dignity and the choices that she's making.
Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Hey, go. Bring me down, can't none bring me down. Your love is too high, bring me down, can't none bring me down. I said, bring me down, can't none bring me down. Your love is too high, bring me down, can't none bring me down. I said, clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Clap along if you feel.
And Jack Jack's 15 now, yeah.
And what is he? He's a musician, right?
Yeah, he plays guitar, drums, and he's also, he's a very good artist. Right?
Feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Hey, go.
Poof.
Perfect timing.
Plastic.
It's hysterical. That is funny. Come on, Wayne.
Before anything, I'm a father, and my goal, my real ambition in life, if I have any ambition at all, is to be a great father.
That fake laugh is too much to take.
No. 5-year-old. Oh, I'm sorry, 50.
6.
2. 51. I don't know. It doesn't matter at this point.
No.
I don't think so.
It does.
I don't really think so. But you're right. I mean, hey, at least I didn't do like a TV show where I was heartbroken in my 20s. God, that would be like embarrassing. If only I was with someone in their 50s that could point that out to me. I wish I fucking thought I could have kids with you. You're a fucking kid yourself.
Fake,
suck my dick.
Good.
Suck my dick.
Fucking you've left nothing and I've left everything. So suck your dick.
I didn't punch you, by the way. I'm sorry that I didn't hit you across the face in a proper slap, but I was hitting you.
But you're fine. I did not hurt you. I did not punch you. I was hitting you.
How are you?
What am I supposed to do? Do this? I'm not sitting here bitching about it, am I? You are. That's the difference between me and you. You're a fucking baby.
Because you started.
You are such a baby. Grow the fuck up, Johnny.
Physical fights.
I did start a physical fight.
Yeah, you did. So I had to get the fuck out of there.
Yes.
I think there was something in the kiss in the shower that was very real. When I would come home from work, I would come in the house or the hotel, and she would sit me down on the couch and give me a glass of wine and take my boots off, set them to the side, and I'd never experienced anything like that in my life. I just never felt I just never experienced that before.
Sit down, I made you coffee.
Oh, thanks. It was as if she was too good to be true. She was attentive, she was loving, she was smart, she was kind, she was funny, she was understanding. So
beautiful angel materialized. Time stood still face to face. I'm sure we'd met at another time and place. Our eyes met as you passed me by. Two souls entwined in the blink of an eye. And I had to figure out what I've been missing. So I turned to you when asked you if you wanted to. You know we'll be getting some, getting jiggy just for fun. Rendezvous, where to my place, say to, and we can do anything you wanna do. Hey, tonight is your night, yeah. When you close your eyes, take a minute, take a moment, realize.
I'm hard to get, Steve. All you have to do is ask me.
You know what you're getting into. It's gonna be rough.
Do you see me when you fantasize? Tonight will be your night. I'm just sitting here daydreaming about you and all the things you do. Girl, feels so right. And all I know is you're the one for me. That special kind of lady in my life, in my life. Well, here I am writing you a love song, holding back those years. It's been so long, and I can't deny the way that I'm feeling. It's true, so girl, that's why I'm asking you. Can we rendezvous, where to my place, say to, and we can do anything you wanna do. Hey, tonight is your night, yeah. When you close your eyes, take a minute, take a moment, realize. Do you see me when you fantasize? Tonight will be your night. Darling, tell me what's on your mind, what you think. Hey, what you thinking? Hey, what you thinking? Darling, tell me what's on your mind, what's on your mind? Yeah, darling, what's on your mind, what do you think?
Three. You're on overhauling.
Speechless. I can't believe all of this. You both my tricksters here.
It was pretty clear how much.
I can't believe you did this.
It's rid.
That's where we come in. We're launching the We Are You campaign, and we want to do it with you. I'm Io. I'm an artist from New York, and I started a project called Self-Evident Truths. I'm going to photograph 10,000 people in this country who identify as anywhere on the LGBT spectrum. And I'm going to need a lot of help. So here's how it works. You buy a We Are You t-shirt for $20 from us.
With that, you'll be sponsoring one of the 10,000 faces in DC.
So somebody who's really productive, high functioning, successful, and you get to know them and you think they're fantastic because they're so interested in you too. And you might not realize it, but they're mimicking you perfectly. So you're really just kind of falling in love with this new friend who is being you. But then all of a sudden, you say something that they think is offensive, and you can't, even in your wildest thoughts, understand how that could have offended somebody, but their reaction is so strong that you kind of buy into it. Gosh, maybe I did say something offensive, and you feel bad about it. So that sophisticated version, they can be a little bit more calculated in the way they present. They tend to kind of hit you where it hurts a little bit more, and they can be actually very, very destructive.
Depp had dropped hints about those rumors that he was engaged to his 27-year-old girlfriend Amber Heard, but never confirmed it until now.
Forgive me, I did notice something on your hand. Oh, the other one.
I have many things on my hands.
Okay, so is that an engagement ring?
That's a chick's ring.
Does that mean you're engaged?
It means I'm wearing a chick's ring.
Okay, don't make me go all meet the press on you. Does that mean you're engaged?
What would you consider it?
I think you look engaged. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Are you excited?
Yeah, very. She's a wonderful girl. She's sharp as a tack, a wonderful Southern belle, and sweet as can be. And
is there a relationship between borderline personality disorder and intimate relationships?
Yes, so the instability definitely translates to their relationships. You'll see relationships start.
Sit down, I made you coffee.
Oh, nice.
Very intensely. People will, somebody with borderline personality disorder perceives the relationship as extremely close. This pattern of idealizing and devaluing is definitely at play. They do this with their lovers and also with their friends. And so this might be the perfect person, their perfect soulmate friend, perfect soulmate partner, and their engagement in the relationship is very alluring, very charming to the other person. And so initially everything seems great. But what occurs is that reality sets in. People are not perfect, even when we have a lot in common with them. Whereas most of us can accept somebody as a whole, somebody who has a little bit of flaws, and still think this is my great friend who always constantly running late for dinner. The person with borderline personality disorder, things are in these extremes, this black and white, we call it splitting. And so that person goes from being idealized, the perfect person, to dumpster. They are totally devalued. They are the worst friend. They don't care anything about me. I have better people around. And then there will be a repair, because the person with this disorder does feel remorseful after they have these reactions, angry, tell their friend off. But over time, it wears away at these relationships.
Because you know where to look anyway, so we can have them here so they can watch your
Basically
performance.
split the lens, no?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the cameras will be standing there, so you'll have the whole floor to, you know, it's just. People with borderline personality disorder can be very caring in their relationships as long as their needs are being met. They feel that their needs should be met when they want them met at a specific level, and if they're not, then that anger, that sense of harm causes them to react. So, or when somebody's really not doing anything wrong, because a lot of times they read into things that they perceive as being a slight to them or being
somebody intending to harm them that actually isn't happening. They'll exaggerate it, and they'll explode. They'll react in this heightened manner that is just exhausting for their partners.
So she reached, she walked up to me and reached and grabbed the bottle of vodka, and then just kind of stood back and then hurled it at me, and it just went right past my head and smashed behind me. The other bottle, shot, takes the second bottle, which is the larger one. I'm in this position again, and my hand is on the edge of the bar, like that, and leaning over, the fingers like that, and she threw the large bottle, and it made contact and shattered everywhere. And I honestly didn't feel the pain at first at all. I felt no pain whatsoever. What I felt was, I felt heat. I felt heat, and I felt as if something were dripping down my hand, you know.
The majority of the blood, Debbie, is downstairs, but I went through that really carefully. Oh, wait, there's a... So I'll try to clean something out here. I told Danny it's probably used to this.
First of all, they're more sensitive to things. They feel distress more strongly, and then that distress lasts longer. So these types of blow-ups go on forever, and they're very cyclic. It feels like you just can't get a resolution, and eventually the partner will try to leave, will want to leave to take a break. It wears them down, and that's when the borderline might explode and act very aggressively or violently to try to prevent them from leaving.
That's me in the emergency room. I see a detail that I'd forgotten, which is Ms. Hurd had taken my cigarette from the ashtray and stomped it out in my face here.
That's a severe injury, I would agree.
Yeah. Severe injury that ended up with Mr. Depp on a gurney, correct?
That is a severe injury, correct.
Yeah. There.
And there was also an indication actually in Dr. Hughes's, Dr. Hughes is a forensic psychologist who had been appointed by Ms. Hurd to conduct as an evaluation as well. In Ms. Hughes's interview of Ms. Hurd disclosed that she had cut her arm in the past, which is a typical reactive type thing somebody with this diagnosis can do. It's one of the symptoms.
The corner of my eye, I saw a fist and an arm come across my right shoulder, and I heard and saw a closed fist contact Mr. Depp in the left side of his face.
And whose fist was that?
That was Miss Hurd's fist, Amber Hurd's fist.
And
closer. You want us to pay you? Do you have a problem with those things on the side of your head? Am I not the captain of this ship?
Where's the treasure? All of us are starving. Yesterday we eat a rat.
Incident between Johnny and Amber here during that trip. Amber was telling him that he was a washed up actor. He was going to die a fat, lonely old man. Then you heard, you hit me with a can. You heard Johnny say, you hit me with a can. And then he came down the steps and Amber was behind him and she had a bottle in her hand. It was removed and there was a brief pause at the moment, I think of initial shock or uncertainty of why, that we were there. Neither Johnny nor Amber knew that we were there. He proceeded to walk back to the John Deere and she again walked. He was just sitting in the seat. Amber came up to him and was asking him to come back in the house, that she was sorry, please come back in the house. He didn't come out of the seat and she was hugging and kissing him and I love you. She was telling him I loved you. He didn't react. Johnny sat there, eventually got out of the John Deere and proceeded to start to walk away. At that time, Amber started to grab at him and his shirt and trying to pull him back to the house. Just basically viciously trying to pull him back and get him back into the house and yelling at him. And at that point, I was between them and felt it was best, and I was getting worried about what was going to happen, and it was best that I remove him from the situation. And so CJ took Amber back to the house, and I walked Johnny over to the cafe, which was basically 30 seconds away from the house, because it was the only place I could take him to at the time.
What did you observe when you went back to the cafe with Mr. Depp?
When we went back to the cafe, he had a mark across the bridge of his nose. I got a bag of ice to put on it so that it wouldn't swell, just to make sure that it wasn't bleeding. And he walked over to the love seat at the cafe and he laid down and went to sleep. And CJ came back over and I asked CJ to stay there for the remainder of the evening, for the remainder of the morning. And I left CJ inside the cafe and I left Johnny on the couch.
let's not do this anymore. Because I'm really getting frustrated. And I'm really, really, really sick of this argument.
Stop, I'm sorry.
Okay, so let me go, and you go, and I'll speak to you in a couple hours. Okay? Okay?
Stop. Okay.
Why are you saying stop? May I go?
Please, it causes me so much stress when you leave, when you walk away from me with that. It's like you don't understand how much worse you're making this.
I can't believe this.
Please, you're making it worse for me.
Okay, I'm sorry for you.
Please, I'm only trying to tell you so that you know you're causing me immense stress right now when you walk away like that. There's no reason to be mad.
Well, then say goodbye. I haven't walked away. You're not saying goodbye. You won't let me fucking leave. Let me leave.
Stop rushing me! Stop pushing me in the corner and then poking me with a stick and then saying, why are you saying the words you want me to say?
But this is not, bro. This is not happiness. This is not.
Please stop doing this. Please, you're causing me so much fucking stress. I'm gonna die at this age. I'm gonna fucking die. You're causing me so much stress. Please stop. Please. I feel like I have a heart attack almost every day. Please stop. Please stop doing it. Please stop. He's so fucking mean.
Why are you with me?
Bully. Stop. Please stop. I've been begging you not to fight. I just said, can we please have a normal argument? Just even a normal conversation, fucking normal argument. And for the last hour, I've been begging you to please just leave it at that. Let's just go on with our night. I would have been able to come in with you. We would have been able to let it go in a few minutes. It would have been fine. If we allowed ourselves to have fucking normal arguments. Please, you're killing me with this. You're killing me. You're fucking killing me. Fuck.
Sean, could you, please, I want you to just go. I want you to take your medicine or whatever. I'm sorry that I've upset you.
Yeah, I think. Thank you, Sean. I'm ready to go. Thank you so much.
I'm really sorry.
I'm really ready. Thank.
I'm not gonna be in a physical fucking altercation with you. Well, we're on a plane that can't split.
No.
Sure. If things get physical, we have to separate.
No.
There can be no physical violence.
I can't promise you that I'll be perfect. I can't promise you. I can't promise you I won't get physical again. God, I fucking sometimes get so mad. I lose.
When you start the fucking yelling, there's, you know, it fucking gets crazy. You know, it gets fucking crazy. You know, and that makes me not feel. For lack of a better word, safe within the relationship. On the plane here from Rio,
You don't admit it.
you were
Think about
losing
it.
your marbles.
Think about it.
I'm the one who came to you and said, let's calm down, please calm down. And you were blaming me. Tell me. I'm not the one who fucking throws fucking pots and
Those are different.
whatever
That's
the
different.
fucking else at me.
That's different. Just because I've thrown pots and pans does not mean that you come and knock on the door. Just because there are vases does not mean that you come and knock on the door.
Really, I should just let you throw.
I'm not saying that. You're saying that. You're putting words in my mouth and then
of all people is in the dream that you had so long ago that lives in all of the hearts of people. Believe in you. We'll make the dream become a reality.
You fucking haymakered me, man. You came around the bed to fucking start punching on me. Why? I love you. I love you. I've done nothing but live in fucking heart, a broken fucking heart from the one person that I love and I trust.
Will she have advantage if she leaves him but files with police for abuse first? Was that a question that she asked you?
Yes, this was her talking out loud, trying to strategize for herself.
Every night in my dreams, I see you, I feel you. That is how I know you go on. Far across the distance and spaces between us, you have come to show you go on. Near, far, wherever you are, I believe that the heart does go on. Once more, you open the door and you
I go.
Please, it causes me so much stress when you leave, when you walk away from me. I'm gonna die at this age. I'm gonna fucking die. You're causing me so much stress. Please stop. Please, you're killing me with this. You're killing me.